up, world? It's your boy Tommy Mav, and I came to give you guys my thoughts on Kyrie Irving and his whole stance on resuming the season. So if you don't know, Kyrie Irving has come out, has been reported to be the main driving force behind them about saying that we should postpone the NBA to make sure that the protests don't stop, because somehow those two things are connected. Which I was, once again, kind of like, Kyrie is such an idiot. Okay, first and foremost, let me say this. When has Kyrie Irving ever spoken up on any black issues? Name one time. Name one quote you have of Kyrie Irving in the past ever even talking about black issues. Right? This is what I'm finding really, really annoying about this whole Black Lives Matter, police brutality protest, right? A lot of people, didn't give two shits about Black Lives Matter, never cared about racial equality, inequality, none of that shit. All of a sudden, they're speaking out a lot now, because what they found out is a lot of people agree with Black Lives Matter, right? A lot of it's kind of like the closeted racists. They were like when Trump came out, you saw a lot of closeted racists start to show themselves. With this, it's starting to show you that there's a lot of closeted black people support who really didn't speak up because they were afraid to, right? Both black and white, from your Jordans to your Tom Brady's. All these people never spoke up on these issues because they were always afraid to. Not that they probably always agreed that black people were treated unfairly in this country. And like I said, you can't grow up. Most of the coolest white dudes I find are generally the ones who play sports, because most of their life because their interaction with black people is different. You know what I'm saying? Their interaction is more on a brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with people from the military who good brotherhoods. The military brotherhood is what police try to act like they are. The military is the true brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? The military does a good job of understanding, this is my brother. We both fought. We both died for this country. This is a military brotherhood. So they watch out for each other financially. They watch out for each other's children, stuff like that. That's what a brotherhood is supposed to be. A brotherhood is not designed to be a bunch of idiots who do dumb things and then protect each other. That's a gang. That's not a brotherhood. That's a gang. That's a mafia. Okay? Good people, good brotherhoods are like, and I'm not talking about from a biblical standpoint, because fraternities are evil as hell. But I'm talking about just there's a difference between a fraternity and a gang, right? A fraternity, when they say that they have a brotherhood, they're saying they have a kinship to one another, that they see each other as brothers. So they strive to make their brother better, to help him out in any way they can. A gang is generally there for protection. You join a gang because you want protection from someone else, or you want protection from that gang, right? So that is the difference between a gang and a fraternity. The military is a fraternity. The police force is a gang, right? That means you either join them to harass and terrorize, or you join them because you're being harassed and terrorized. Neither one of them are good reasons to join a group of individuals that were made to protect and serve. So I understand that there's some stupidity here, but going back to my initial point, Kyrie Irving is all these people jumping behind Kyrie Irving. When has Kyrie Irving ever spoken up? He's like all these other people who never spoke on issues that he thought was going to hurt his bottom line, until all of a sudden he realized he had a lot more support than he thought he did, right? So when you look at a lot of these people speaking up now is because they always were afraid to before. And now they started to realize, wait, my opinion is the popular opinion. Oh, I always thought my opinion was the unpopular opinion, so I didn't want to say anything because I was scared it was going to hurt my bottom line. But now that I see that, hey, this is just the truth. Because a lot of people believe this is the truth. Okay, well, then I'm going to step in, throw my hat in that ring too. Because I believe this is what I believe is right. And some people are just doing it because they don't have an opinion on it. It's the most popular thing to say and do. So, I'm not going to come out and say everybody who speaks on it is a virtuous ally. No, I think a lot of them are speaking on it because they realize it's big business in it. I think that's one thing that this freaking Black Lives Matter thing has done, and I will stand corrected because I always been under the impression that protesting and all this other stuff doesn't do anything to help us, our situation get better. But I never calculated in that white people would be doing it too. So when you throw in white people doing it too, all of a sudden they realize, oh wait, this is a large fan base. This is a large group of people. This is a large group of people that are going out and, I mean, if this issue will make them go out into the streets and put their lives and livelihood in danger for the sake of these people, then they generally must really care about these people. So, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's an ode to our culture, the urban culture. Urban culture became, around the time I was growing up, my generation, urban culture became popular culture. So blacks and whites, we kind of melded into this different culture, this more urban culture. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us grew up together. You know what I'm saying? We didn't grow up with the racial tensions that they did in the 70s, the 60s, 70s, and somewhat 80s. Our generation, it was more, you saw, like, you had a lot of black people who their best friend were white. You know what I mean? And so, and vice versa and so forth. Nowadays it's harder to be racist because it's so hard to discount interactions. See, it worked in the 60s and 70s because America was so segregated. It worked a little less because segregation had broken down, and then it slowly started trickling into integration. But now it's full-blown integration. You have to be a private, rich person that goes to school with nothing but white people to ever really stay in a racist mindset, whether you're white, black, Spanish, or whatever, because you meet too many different people. You meet too many variety of people. You meet 4 or 5 different white people a day. You meet a really nice one, you meet a really dumb one, you meet a really smart one, you meet a really smug one, you meet a really humble one. Same thing with blacks, whites. They started to realize blacks, whites, Latinos, Asians, they're different people. It's like they're just people. So it's harder for this generation to believe that someone is inherently bad because of the color of their skin. It's so hard for them to believe because it's like, wait, you're telling me that this black person is worse than I am? But I go to school every day and he's one of the smartest kids in class. Me and him talk all the time. He sounds a lot like me. Why should I believe that he's somehow worse than me and deserves to be treated worse than I am? You know what I'm saying? I've been around my black friends. I realize the difference in the way that I'm treated and the way that they're treated. I know that this is true. You know what I'm saying? There's too many interactions. There's too many people with first-hand accounts of being with their black friends and understanding the vast disproportionate way that black people are targeted not only by the police but by most people for aggression and or criminality. You know what I'm saying? So it's harder for them to hide it. So a lot of these people coming out of woodwork and they're realizing they're the popular opinion. People like Kyrie come in and they will speak on these issues. I mean, and they never spoke on these issues. Now all of a sudden, we need to postpone. We need to postpone the season so that we don't lose the momentum. First of all, let me say this to people about Kyrie Irving. First of all, it's not protesting when you aren't going to play anyways. That's the one thing I keep seeing all these people slapping him on the back are not realizing. Kyrie Irving isn't protesting shit. He's going to get paid regardless. He has guaranteed money. He's going to get paid regardless. That's first. Second, he wasn't going to play anyways. He was hurt. He's hurt, injured, and has already stated he will not be playing this in this season because of his shoulder surgery. This is before they even started talking about coming back. So Kyrie Irving is full of shit. That's first. You're not protesting when you weren't going to play anyways. So that's second. Third, okay, so we need to keep people as bored as possible so that they can focus on this stuff. As if those people out there protesting Black Lives Matter really give a shit about basketball anyway. That is so insulting. You know what I'm saying? That is so insulting to the people to the people out there protesting. You think that they're gonna give more of a shit about playing basketball than they are about these issues? No, them people are not out there because they don't have anything better to do. They're out there because they're mad. They're out there because they're upset. Half of these people you see probably don't even watch basketball. So that's the first dumbass thing he said. Oh, well, then they may go back. No, people are focused on this, and the people who don't focus on this aren't focused on this. They're just watching something else. So if basketball could take their mind off of this issue, then it was never an issue to them to begin with. They probably were watching freaking Game of Thrones reruns. They weren't watching you anyways, and they weren't on Twitter arguing with people about Black Lives Matter. So that's such an idiotic statement. Kyrie Irving is one of the dumbest think I'm smart people you will ever find. He always says shit that you end up turning your head being like, that is so basic that it didn't need to be said. Now he'll say shit like, you know, Martin Luther King was hated for what he said too. So what do I expect? That's so laughably basic. You know what I'm saying? He never says anything profound. You couldn't sit down with him and talk to him and he wouldn't think he's dropping dimes. It's like, dude, you are not profound. You're a very basic, very surface level person. Right? If you see the people he hangs around, like I said, from Chris Browns to all the other idiots he hangs around, almost everybody he hangs around are a bunch of immature people who think they're more important than they actually are. Kevin Durant, Chris Brown, he seems to flock to asshole. Right? That seems to be his circle. Like anytime you think, man, that guy's an asshole, some way or form you find out he's connected and close friends with Kyrie Irving. I always find that. But that's not my point. Those three things alone, like what the hell are you talking about, Kyrie? If I wanted to postpone my basketball, if I wanted to postpone what I do for the sake of not making people have something to do, for the purpose of making them so bored that they would have to go out and march because they're not watching basketball, you're an idiot. Okay? Nobody is out there protesting because they don't got nothing better to do. That's insulting, and I don't know why people don't find that to be insulting. The people who are watching that at home, the people who out there risking, who going out there getting their head bashed in, who getting shot, you know what I'm saying, who getting pepper sprayed and bombed. You think they doing that because they ain't got nothing better to do, you idiot? They're not doing that because they don't have nothing better to do. They're doing that because they're going out there and they're trying to make a change. They're trying to change. They feel passionate about an issue, more passionate than your ass has, because I haven't seen you out there once. So let's bore everybody so that we don't forget about the issues. Yeah, he ain't even cared enough about the issue to ever actually go out there himself. Have you seen a picture of him at any protest rally? Has he been getting tear gas? Same thing with Dwight Howard. Have you seen his 7-foot ass out there? No. That's about what we need to hold up. No, it's not. You play a game, and with all intents and purposes, that game has its place in the pantheon of importance. Because people love to say that. It burns me up when I hear people say, you dribble a basketball. I'm like, that's so fucking stupid. When somebody says, oh, well, you dribble a basketball for a living, what do you expect? That's like saying a lawyer argues with people for a living, or a doctor looks at a person's body for a living. That is such a straw man, stupid take on a profession. At the end of the day, a basketball player does Athletes are the most rarest of the human beings, right? They are the rarest of human beings. What they do, you can't just cut them and replace them immediately. A doctor, you can. A lawyer, you can. No matter what you say, if a person, there are plenty of people who go to school to do those jobs and can do them well enough. Laura Ingram's job, they could fill in just like she filled in for Bill O'Reilly. Somebody can come in and fill in for her. And that same fan base is going to be there because they have the same script and they say the same damn things. Okay? You're not special. What you do, anybody can do. What basketball players do, or athletes in general, that's rare. Athletes have a rare ability to do a craft and to do something that requires intelligence, reflexes, and just God-given natural talent. Those are things that athletics involve, right? And it's a mano a mano. Me versus you. You know what I'm saying? Us versus them type of mindset. And you see rarities. You see things you've never seen before. I always get, and I tell people that all the time, I hate when people involve intelligence when they connect. And I was having a discussion with me and my wife when I was some friends. And one of them said, well, because I was like, Donald Trump doesn't seem like he's the most well-read person. He's like, well, Donald Trump graduated from Penn. I'm like, first and foremost, do I really believe Donald Trump graduated from Penn? Hell no. I believe he got into Penn. It had shit to do with him being smart. You know what I'm saying? But I'll give you that. Just because someone is smart enough to memorize written down knowledge of other people, that does not make you smart. That's equivalent to saying I can remember every lyric in a Wu-Tang album, so it somehow makes me smart. It doesn't. It's just what you spent your time on memorizing. You spent your time on memorizing those things, so therefore you remember them well. That does not make you smart. That has nothing to do with intelligence. That has everything to do with how well you can be a robot and take in information and believe it and apply it. Most of the time, they're terrible at applying it. They can generally only do. They have to not only be told how to where to get their knowledge. They have to be told how to apply that knowledge 90% of the time. So that has nothing to do with intelligence. Nothing to do with smarts. It's just purely the ability to read and remember. That's all it does. So that's not natural intelligence. So it annoys me when I hear people say that junk. Because it's like that's not intelligence. So people can be smart in one area when it comes to remembering laws and freaking quotients and whatever you want to say. You can remember all that stuff and still be a dumbass in everything else because you never spend any time on learning to be a human being with intelligence to study people. Because that's the hardest thing to do, right? It's true intelligence. It's the ability to think on the fly, the ability to add in to improvise and apply your own logic when nobody's giving you a blueprint to that logic. That's one thing you find out. You start debating with somebody, you really find out how smart they are. That's what I said about Kyrie Irving. He's very basic. If you have a debate with somebody, generally they will regurgitate things that they hear. And that's when you know you're dealing with a dummy. Because they never say anything original. They say talking points and they say things that they think are their own thoughts because they've been saying them for so long. Only to find out you're just a robot. You just say, you have your talking points that you've been taught to say. And it's like when you have an argument with somebody about the whole quarterback situation. And they start talking about... I always give people the side eye when I start hearing direct quotes from people off TV. Cam Newton's immature. You're not on the Panthers. How do you know how mature Cam Newton is? Well, Cam Newton is inaccurate. So I'm 90% sure you haven't watched every pass that Cam Newton's throw. So what do you get the impression that he's inaccurate? Oh, okay. You heard someone else say it. It's the same thing when it comes down to these protests and stuff like that. Kyrie Irving is an idiot. You know what I'm saying? he heard someone else say it. Thought it was a good idea. He's very childish. Like, you can tell he was a very spoiled kid when it comes to getting what he wants. So he's always throwing fits. He's always acting like a brat and you know, flopping and acting like a complete another child, immature child. So when it comes to this issue, it's what he tried to do. Why are you creating a mutiny over nothing? You know what I'm saying? You try to make it look like people who want to go back and play sports and do their job. Like every other American in America, they want to go back and do their job. You're trying to paint them as bad guys. I think that's ludicrous. I think they're retarded. You know what I'm saying? I will never understand it. I will never get. I will never get how people think they can speak for a group of people, especially when you know that you have such reach as Kyrie does, to come out there and put that out in the air, knowing you're not going to play. That's first. You're not even playing, and you're going to get paid regardless because you have a guaranteed contract. So what your protest makes no sense because you're not actually protesting. You weren't going to play anyway, so that's not a protest. That's just you telling other people to protest because you're gonna get paid and you were never gonna play. So that's my argument on it. Please comment. Let me know what y'all think. All right, y'all. Peace.